immediately I thought about our trying to conceive journey, because it's one thing to be trying to conceive and have a plan, but it's another thing when you now have to race against something that will not change. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is definitely very unexpected. I did not think I'd be putting up a video like this. If you would have asked me a few days ago, I would have been like, what? Yeah. So a lot of you guys are new, and but I'm sure most of you know that we're trying to conceive our second child together, my husband and I, and we had a plan set in stone that was made pretty obvious, and something has happened and those plans have drastically changed. So I wanted to tell you guys what was going on and talk about what the new plan is going to be. So I'll just do an overview of what the original plan was for those of you who are newer and don't know. We have been doing Clomid now for almost a year with just a small break in between. And we actually just completed 3 months of IUIs, all just with Clomid, just regular medicated IUIs. And my clinic asks that you do 3 to 6 of them before moving on to either injectable IUIs or IVF. It's kind of left up to your own personal discretion, but not everyone can do injectable IUIs, I guess. I guess it doesn't make sense for everyone. So we had to have an appointment to discuss if it even made sense for us or if it made sense just to jump to IVF. So after our last IUI was unsuccessful, we decided to go ahead and not do any more of those because we had done the minimum of 3 and they weren't working. So we had our appointment, talked to the doctor, we decided to move on with injectable IUIs, and my husband and I decided that we would try it 3 times. 3 injectable IUIs, and if that did not work, then it most likely was not going to work, so we would just move on to IVF. So between injectable cycles, according to my doctor, we had a training to go kind of through before we could do injectables. They let us know that you can only do it every other cycle because you have to give your body time to go back to like its baseline. So essentially we would be trying injectable cycles for February, April, and June. And if the June one was not successful, we could start IUI or IVF in August. So we kind of thought that September, October would have been a really good time for us. It would have given us a really good due date if it was successful, and it just made sense for our family. So on Friday, I called the pharmacy, ordered the medication because my cycle was to start on the weekend and you have to call before because they overnight the medication to you because it is refrigerated. So I called them on Friday. I paid for the medication on Friday. Like on my drive home, I called and set everything up. And we ended up paying almost $1,000 for the medication. And I know previously I said my insurance covered it. That actually ended up not being the case. They covered some of they covered the trigger shot and the progesterone. They did not cover the most important injectable medication. So we paid almost $1,000, and I'll do a video going over the cost and what we ended up paying for and what we ended up getting for medication. But they sent me a shipping notice. It had shipped, and then I got home and everything kind of went. I went upstairs after getting home. We had plans to go out to an event for Chick-fil-A for kids to bring their stuffed animals for like a sleepover thing. And we were getting the kids ready for that, and they were in the next room. And I was just changing out of my work clothes, and my husband said, this isn't really a good time, but I need to show you my phone. And I'm like, okay. But he's like very serious, and normally he messes around, so I could just tell that he was being very serious. And I guess he didn't really want to say it out loud, so he just showed me his phone on his recent call list. And a lot of you guys may know or may not know that my husband is a pilot in the Army and for the National Guard. And on his phone, he showed me it was the name of his aviation unit, which is how he saved their phone number in his phone. I've tried to film this video before and I broke down, so I'm just going to try to not break down because I would turn into a mess. When they call, typically it only means one thing, and that was accurate for the phone call he got. Basically the phone call was from someone in his unit letting him know that he got, or their unit got, official deployment orders. So there was rumors going around for a while, and that time came and passed, so we kind of thought we were past it and it was going to be maybe a little bit longer before we'd get a notification. And I will say that it's a big, huge blessing that the National Guard, not always, but a lot of times, you have quite a while once you get the notification before you actually have to leave. We're talking a year time frame, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. So I'll just say that we are very lucky this time, and I can't tell you when he's leaving, where he's going. You guys probably already know that. I can't say that for safety reasons and because it's against the law, and I don't want to be wearing an orange jumpsuit anytime soon. So when I saw that, like, okay, my first thought was, okay, well, when? And so I kind of need to know. And immediately I thought about our trying to conceive journey, because it's one thing to be trying to conceive and have a plan, but it's another thing when you now have to race against something that will not change, and you're now going against this clock. And if we tried 3 injectable cycles, went and did IVF this fall, most likely he could not be here for the birth or for the whole year after that. It might work out where he would still be here, but it would be the same situation that it was with my daughter Aniston, where he had to leave 3 weeks after she was born and he left for a year. So that was not ideal. That really won't work for us, because any setbacks would pretty much guarantee he wouldn't be here, because they also go through a lot of training before the deployment, and it's not like it's in the state. They have to go to Texas for training, or wherever else. They go different states for training. So it's not like he would be here anyways in the months before. So I'm not racing against the deployment date. I'm racing against the training dates that are before that. So I about had a meltdown, but I had to keep it together, because we're not going to tell the kids right now. They have no concept of time. I mean, our oldest might, but Aniston, she's 3. She's not going to understand the time. There's no reason to upset her and have her ask me every day until he leaves when he's leaving. And so we're just not going to say anything right now. We probably won't till like much closer. So we have to kind of like code talk it, because our almost 9-year-old would definitely know what we were talking about. And the idea of deployment is just scary for them, because again, once my husband leaves, the concept of time till when he comes back is hard for them to understand, I think, still. So, and then it makes it hard on me, because they're upset and then I'm upset and then we're all upset, and it doesn't do us any good to stress out about it right now. So our plan is that we are going to try the injectable cycle one time. If it does not work this one time, we're done. We are moving on to IVF. Luckily, our fertility specialist doctor, he knows my husband, because he also has prior military experience, and they actually kind of like knew of each other already, and they've talked a lot about it. Like in our consults, I just sit there and they have a conversation about stuff. So luckily he understands. We told him back when the rumor was going around, he's like, it's no problem. Just if that is the case, then we'll move on to IVF. And it sucks because IVF is so expensive, and I don't want you guys to think that we are made of money trees, because we're not made of money trees. But we've been trying to conceive for a long time and always knew that IVF could be an option. So that's why I'm not really freaking out over the price, because financially we can do it, and I'm not really stressed out about it as much. But it does break my heart, because I know that not everyone's in our situation, and I just can't imagine it being your only option and you not being able to afford it. Like, that just kills me, and it honestly, it just kills my heart. I feel for so many of you that have DM'd me talking about that, and it honestly, it breaks my heart. God. So that is the plan. I still think we'll have to take a month off in between the injectable cycle and if we were to do IVF, because my body would still have to go back to a baseline, I think. So that would mean that if this one does not work, then we're looking at starting the process of IVF when my cycle comes the last week of March, which is crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. It kind of feels like I've just run into a brick wall, and I cannot believe that that might probably be. I feel like even injectable IUIs, your chances still aren't as good as IVF, obviously. I feel like they're half as good as IVF. So I'm just asking you guys for thoughts and prayers to emotionally, just for my sanity, because I'm just like about to like go into cardiac arrest over here. Normally I would not be upset about a deployment, because I very well knew about deployments when I married my husband. We've already been through one together, so I know kind of what to expect. But now I feel like I am racing this clock to get pregnant, because there is going to come a time that if we're not pregnant, we have to stop trying, or we have to accept that he's not going to be here when I give birth. Oh God, and that's like my biggest fear, is to give birth without him here. Because I would never, growing up, I never would have thought that was even a possibility. Like when you give birth, your husband's there, right? And so many people have had to give birth without them, and that kills me too. I'm just very emotional because of this and thinking of the possibilities. I just don't know if I could do it without him there. So if we came to the point where we had to stop trying, we would not be able to start up trying again until almost 2021. Which is 3 years from now. And I've already been trying for 2 years. The idea of waiting 3 more kills me. So that's why we're not going to just chance it and do multiple injectable cycles. And I know that some of you guys will have opinions about this, but we're doing what's best for us. And it's best for us to just try one injectable cycle at the risk of saving money if we could, and then moving on to IVF. We very well could end up doing IVF if there's one thing that happens. In our training for the injectable cycles, they did say that sometimes when you do an injectable cycle, your body creates too many follicles. And if you create 6 or more, either you have to cancel that cycle altogether, or you can just transfer it to IVF and move forward. If for some reason my body does create too many follicles and they offer it, we will just go to IVF and transfer it and just not waste some money on the medication that we spent, because it was almost $1,000. I mean, that's a lot of money to me, at least. I think I could have like 3 Kate Spade purses for that. So like, yeah, I think it's a lot of money to pay to inject your own self with the medication. So yeah, so I had to update you guys on that. Obviously, it's important that you guys kind of know what's going to be happening and what's going on, so you're not blindsided by anything. I just want to thank you guys so much for all of your continued love and support. And your comments on my last video for my pregnancy test were just amazing, and I'm so grateful for all of your kind words, and they mean so much to me. I will keep all of you guys in my prayers as always. And again, thanks for watching. If you want to follow us on our injectable, IUI, and now possibly IVF journey, subscribe to my channel and I will bring you guys along for the ride. I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.